Welcome to Scratch Tutorial 1. In this video, we're using the Motion tab and looking at ways you can use it to move your character around and control him with your keyboard. So the first thing we're going to do is click on Create. Now, because this is tutorial number 1, we're going to name it at the top first, Tutorial 1, and then I'm going to dash Motion. Okay, it should save for you. Now, as I said, we're looking at motion. In order to do anything in Scratch, you need something to trigger your code, and that is found in events. And it's this one here that says when flag clicked. So we're going to grab that one and bring it over here, and then we're going to go back to motion. So we need this one just because when we trigger this flag, it's going to trigger whatever it is that's underneath it to actually operate. So let's start by looking at what these do. So the first one is move. You can drag that and you'll see it moves your character a little bit. Just moves him 10 steps. If you increase the number in here, let's say 100, it moves him more. And if you put a negative sign at the front of it, it moves him backwards. So can be useful, but typically not. There's better ways to move your character around. So we'll drag that and delete it over here. The next one is a turn. And this will turn your character 15 degrees. Now, once again, you can change it if you want to move him, say, 90 degrees at a time. You can put him negative if you want him to move backwards, or you can use the other one that moves him backwards too. So we're going to get him just back to the normal position and then delete that one. You've got go to random position, which is actually quite useful. It also has mouse pointer. So if you change it to mouse pointer and push play, you'll see, well, it's only going to go there once unless you have under control. There's something called forever, which we learn about later. If you do put that on there, you'll see that it follows the mouse forever. And we'll just do it just for fun. If you drag that on there and put the flag, you'll see it follows you around now. But we use that tool later on, so we won't worry about it for now. And hit stop. Let's delete those. What else do we have in motion? We've got go to random position, which we'll just put back in there. If I click now, you can see it moves to random positions each time, which is quite useful. Let's delete that one. You've got go to a specific spot. I like this one for sort of a reset function on your program. So if you go 0, 0 and hit the flag, you'll see it always returns back to the middle, which is quite useful. Delete that one. You've got glide, and that's to a random position, so it'll glide for 1 second to a spot. You can increase that. You can say mouse pointer, or just like the other ones. All these ones here are pretty similar, and most of these are all the same. The one that's very useful is down here. The one that says change X by 10. Also the one that says change Y by 10. We use this quite a bit when we're dealing with controls. And we'll look at that now. If you go back to events and you drag in 4 of these, just like I'm doing, when space key is pressed. Now what you're saying is, it's going to detect for whenever the space key or whichever key we set to is pushed and do whatever's underneath it. So what I would like you to do is find when, or change X by 10, drag it there. Another change X by 10, drag it there. A change Y by 10, drag it there. And another change Y by 10. Now the first one we're going to say left. Second one we're going to say right. Third one we're going to say up. And fourth one we're going to say down. Now, at the moment, these two are just going to go to the right because we're changing it by 10, which means 10 is that way. So to move it the other way, we need it to be a negative. So that's why the left arrow, we're going to put negative 10. The right arrow stays at 10. The up can change Y by 10, so positive 10, so it's going up. And to move it down, we need a negative 10. So we'll put negative in there. So now when I hit play, and start pushing some keys, you can see it moves the cat around. And if I go backwards, it moves it backwards, down, up, and so on. Now this isn't the best way to get your character to move, because as you can see, if you try to go in a diagonal position, it doesn't really work. You have to push 2 keys for it to do it. If you hold a key down and then another key down, it overwrites it with one of the keys. So it's not the most practical way, and it looks a little bit jittery as well. So we don't want to stay with this. But when we're just learning how to use motion, it's all right to do this. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our cat into a fidget spinner. So let's move all these down like that. move them out the way. And you can use the zoom functions here so you get a bit more space. And that cleans them up for you a little bit there. So what I'd like you to do is go into Control and drag in a Forever here. Now to turn our cat into a bit of a fidget spinner, under Motion, use the turn 15 degrees and put it in there. Now when you push play, he's going to spin around. If you'd like him to go a bit faster, maybe go 50. And if you want him to go a bit crazy, go 100. We can go more than that, can't we? Alright, that's as fast as he's going to go. So now your cat's a fidget spinner. You'll be able to move him around as well. So that's it for the first tutorial on Motion. I hope you learned something from this one. Make sure you click Save Now so it saves it. And you can just double check it by clicking the folder and making sure you've got tutorial 1 in there. So I hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one.